Regan Slaymaker for Radiant.Green. I have the pleasure to be joined by Georgina Worrall, the head of Powerful Women, once again on Radiant.Green. Georgina, how are you today?
I'm good. Really excited about today. Really vibrant atmosphere, which is exciting.
I was going to say, it's a bit of a crazy event at the moment. I think we doubled in size, 10,000 registrations through the door. I mean, your first look at Solar and Storage Live this year, how have you found it? How are you taking everything in?
It's really exciting to, obviously, as I said, the buzz of the atmosphere, seeing all the exhibitors, seeing the breadth of exhibitors as well, listening to the various conferences and talks that are going on in the various stages. Yeah, it's a really buzzing atmosphere.
Definitely, it definitely is. And obviously you're speaking at 3:30 today obviously on increasing diversity in the energy sector to address the skill shortage and meet net zero. I hope I have given it enough credit when reading that all out correctly as well. Obviously we touched on this in our interview a few weeks ago, but kind of how important is increasing diversity when addressing the skill shortage and increasing net zero? It must be kind of a bit of a challenge, but also a very important one to address as well.
Yeah, so Powerful Women last year collaborated with National Grid on a report called Race to Net Zero, and within that report National Grid state that by 2050 we're going to need 400,000 jobs to meet the energy transition. 260,000 of those jobs will be jobs that don't currently exist, and 140 of those jobs will be people leaving the workforce. So we've got a massive need to recruit diverse workforce, make sure that we're looking at sectors outside of the standard talent pool to bring in that diverse talent with transferable skills. And so diversity and inclusion is really important if we are going to meet net zero challenges.
Definitely. Also, you mentioned there kind of how many of the jobs that don't actually exist yet do you need to fill in? What was that number?
260,000.
I mean, wow. But how is that big? Like, is that a big challenge? Obviously, the jobs that you're searching for don't exist yet in this current race. Is that one of the major challenges when it comes to filling these positions and kind of building this diverse workforce?
Yeah, so there's I sit on the government solar task force, and obviously that's one of the conversations that we're having within those meetings. You know, what are the skills that the solar sector is going to need to be able to drive and meet the government's various targets, and where do we get that pull from, bearing in mind that this is still an emerging sector in comparison to some of the other energy sectors out there. So it is that looking for that diverse talent. What are the transferable skills that people have from within other sectors that can benefit? You know, do we necessarily still need to stick to this concept of you need to have X amount of years experience within the sector? That other people within the companies who will have the sector knowledge, could it be that somebody coming from retail, for example, might be able to bring transferable skills in a new light? So it's trying to just change energy companies' concepts of recruitment.
Definitely, and if you are at Solar and Storage Live as well, make sure to check out the recruitment zone. I know Sturge from Solar Energy UK he's putting a mass emphasis on this, where I think this weekend he's got 100 job vacancies going, and they're obviously Solar Energy UK. I know Chris Hewitt, I spoke to him this morning. He's a big pioneer for the diverse and inclusive workforce as well. I was having another conversation with an exhibitor, and Hyperion Cleantech, I think it is, and they specialise in kind of hiring at C-level positions. And I asked him about diversity and inclusion. Obviously, we've spoken before, kind of increasing the diverse and inclusive workforce across the board, but also how important is it to not only do it from that perspective, but also from a C-level perspective, hiring in different people who obviously over history haven't got the representation in these senior positions. How important is that?
I think it's super important. I mean, we know that if you've got diversity of thought around the boardroom, then you're going to be coming up with new ideas, new concepts. You can kind of challenge that traditional thought process. So there's real value in making sure that your board is not only, obviously from Powerful Women, we're about gender diversity, but we want diversity for all, in terms of all underrepresented groups. And I think, especially with energy companies, they need to be reflected of the communities they serve. And so I think that they need to ensure that they've got board members or senior leaders who are actually representative of the community they serve.
Definitely, and I couldn't second that more than enough than you've just done there as well, Georgina. My final question, Georgina, thank you for giving me your time today. And if you haven't watched our original interview on Radiant.Green, make sure you do. But what are yourself and what are Powerful Women aiming to achieve over the 3 days at Solar and Storage Live?
So I think for us it's about ensuring that diversity and inclusion becomes a core business agenda, that it is out at the core of what companies are trying to achieve, that it's not just seen as a nice fluffy thing to have. And I think also my call sort of to action would be that it's great bringing diversity through the door, but nurture that diversity. Don't go, oh, I've ticked the box, I've got it, I've got the diversity through the door, and then go back to your sort of traditional business as usual. Keep that, support those people coming in who you've recruited for the diversity of thought to carry on and continue challenging your sector and bringing it forward and driving the business.
Definitely, and I couldn't have put it better myself, Georgina. Thank you very much for talking to Radiant.Green once again, and yeah, enjoy Solar and Storage Live, and best of luck in your speaking position as well.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.